cocaine, a felony of the third degree in violation of 2925.11a and carrying a forfeiture. At that time, the indictment on that count was actually amended on the record to reflect the correct amount of cocaine as being an amount that equals or exceeds 10 grams but is less than 20 grams. That's count one. Count two was obstruction of official business, a felony of the fifth degree in violation of 2921.31. Your Honor accepted the plea on these two counts and ordered the defendant to undergo evaluations of PSR and drug and alcohol. We have read the report and we are ready for sentencing, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Deeb.
Your Honor, we are prepared to go forward at this time.
Go ahead.
Your Honor, Mr. Reed has a troubled past, and you can look at his pre-sentence report going back to 1999, some thefts, assaults, a robbery as a juvenile, and we don't, his past record is what it is, and he earned that record, and he has served time in prison because of it. He went to prison back in 2008, and he received an 8-year sentence. In 2016, he was released, and since his release, he did 5 years of PRC without any incident, and since he's been off, he has had no incident other than this offense. This offense happened, he's been working 3 to 4 jobs at all times with his car detailing, with his restaurant, with his breeding, with odd jobs, helping out friends. He's been trying to get himself back to the level that he would like to be at, where he can be respected in the community. He's been working hard at that, and he is a well-respected member as far as what he provides to the citizens of Paynesville. And Lonzo's food truck and the detailing business are some local favorites that people use. Unfortunately, based on that, Your Honor, he developed a cocaine habit, and that cocaine habit was him trying to keep himself awake, keep himself going, and unfortunately, people use that. They use meth, they use cocaine, they use Adderall, when coffee would be something they would use. Unfortunately, that was the road he went down. He developed, it went from, I just need a little bump here to get me through this day, to the point where he started to become addicted, and he was addicted. When he got pulled over by the trooper for sleeping at the arrest area, he originally got confused and he was startled, and then he had taken off a little bit and he thought he was in trouble, so he just wanted to get home. He took off to go home. When the officers did eventually find him, he was cooperative. He didn't fight with them or anything, but he did try to leave. He had lost his keys, he had lost his phone when he was running from the police officers. But the one thing he didn't lose was the cocaine in his pocket, and he wasn't even thinking about that. He was thinking about just making it home. Since he was arrested, when he was released, he entered into an IOP program so he could treat his problem. And I believe that Mr. Reed would be probationable at this time based on the fact that he has turned his life around and he's no longer the person that earned his prior criminal record, though it is his. He is a different person at this point, and he developed a drug habit. Unfortunately, it's mandatory prison, and that was the offer that was made by the state, and they do have a very good case against him for the possession of cocaine. And I would ask the court for a minimal sentence. We would have been asking for probation for Mr. Reed. However, at this point, I believe 9 months would more than protect the community, would more than punish him. It pauses everything that he's got going on. He does appreciate that the court gave him extra time up until last week. He has been able to maintain or take care of his animals, and he's got people to cover all of his business interests until he is released. So we'd ask the court to allow him to go to prison and serve his time, but to keep it to a minimal so we can get back out and get back on track without his drug habit. He has been clean other than the marijuana use, which was allowed through Paynesville, but he has since stopped that altogether since he was in probation. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Reed, what do you want to tell me?
This has been a hard road for me. I ain't really trying to make no excuses. I was just, that night that happened, that incident happened, I had been up for like 20 hours just working and probably should have used something that night, to stay up. I fell asleep at the wheel. When that man, I should have just pulled over. I was just so scared. I went straight to my home, trying to just get home until I really realized what had happened, that asleep at the wheel, took him on a run. I want to apologize to the officer. I want to apologize to my family. Again, like Mr. D said, I did get an extension to get my animals together, my business in order. I lost my father a few months back and my mom recently. So it's just been I don't want to make excuses, but I kind of just fell into a depression and I was just using drugs and not being a good person to myself, to my family, which has been exposed also with I've been going through. They didn't even really know that I was using drugs. And,
How long had you been using?
I've been using since now 2021. And it was an off and on thing. And then, like I said, when I lost my mom, it just kind of like, I just kept falling back into a depression. I did sign myself into IOB, which I feel like did help me. I completed the program. I met some interesting people there. It really will hurt me if I do go to prison. Probably lose a lot. I accomplished a lot. The 8 years I have been home, everything I got, I have accomplished since the 8 years I've been home, since 2016. Everything I got, I have accomplished within this time. I'm married. I'm back into the church. I got a pregnant wife in the court with 7 weeks. I got 2 other daughters. I know my record looks poor, ain't the greatest. You'll never see me again ever. Like if you just mercy on me and the program or whatever you want me, I'm willing to do. And yeah, I'll do whatever.
What started the food truck?
2000. I started in 2001. To be exact, it was April 2000. I want to say April, to be exact, 2000.
2001?
2001, yes. My dog breeding, I've been doing that since 2020.
Kind of dogs?
Boerboel, South African Boerboel. It's a massive family.
How'd you get into that?
A close friend. He's been in it since 2000, and I just fell in love with the breed.
So you went in from May of '09, got out in October of '16, right?
October 18th, 2016.
Yeah. And then you were on parole for 5 years?
Yes. I was working at the details. I've been at the detail spot forever, for real. A&J's.
All right, where'd you go to this IOP?
It was Harbor Lights. It's on the 18th and Prospect,
Okay.
Cleveland, Ohio.
When did you finish that?
I finished June. I think it was June 20th, if I'm not mistaken.
August 22nd of 2024.
Okay.
Okay. I started in June, I'm sorry. I started in June, finished in August.
All right, anything else you want to tell me?
No, sir.
All right, Mr. DeVanche.
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. We would simply note that the defendant is subject to mandatory prison for count 1, possession of cocaine, the felony of the 3rd degree, because he has 2 prior felony drug abuse convictions on his record. Beyond that, we would leave the matter to the discretion of the court. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, I looked at the pre-sentence report, the drug and alcohol evaluation, considered what Mr. Reed has had to say, what counsel has had to say. So your record ain't good. You got in March of '04, you got an F5 drug possession. And you got felony 5, 9 months in prison. August of 5, you got an F5 drug possession. What is that, Ms. Randazzo, that you open that page? Page 5.
The F5 drug possession?
8505, the arrest date. It says 10 months probation. I assume that means 10 months prison, right?
Correct, Your
Okay, so you went to prison for that drug possession F5. Along with a failure to comply, concurrent sentence. So you get out in 7, got this ag robbery in 8, and that's when you did May of 9 to October of 16, so 7.5 years on that. Battery, concurrent time, and then you get you get out October 18th of 16, on parole for 5 years, get released October 18th of 21. You got a marijuana possession in 23 and another misdemeanor in 24, and then this thing. So this thing is mandatory because you've got the 2 drug possessions, felonies of the 5th degree in 04 and 05. That's why it's mandatory. Otherwise, it's not mandatory, correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, so I've also considered the provisions of 292911, 292912, and 292913 on count 1, the possession of cocaine. I'm going to sentence you to 9 months in prison. Count 2, obstructing official business, 9 months in prison. Credit for 1 day. And I'll make those sentences concurrent to one another. And then when you get out, you might be on post-release control for up to 2 years under the parole authority with conditions. If you violate, the parole authority can send you back to prison for up to 9 months for each violation, up to 1/2 of my sentence. If it's a new felony, you could get an additional consecutive prison sentence for the violation, the maximum of which would be the greater of 12 months of the time left under post-release control. The item subject to forfeiture or forfeited. So, Mr. Reed, you shouldn't have, I mean, obviously, you for whatever reason, you fell back into a trap with the cocaine, and it's going to bite you in the ass every time, and it did. You got too much other stuff going for you to be involved in this nonsense anymore. Anything else, Mr. Tavanche?
To clarify, Your Honor, parole is mandatory in this case?
It is?
I'm asking.
Oh, not to my knowledge. I think it's, since it's not a crime of violence, I think it's a optional 2
Thank you.
years at the
Thank you.
parole authority's
Even though
discretion.
it's mandatory time, I think with the fact that it's based on a prior, I don't think it's mandatory.
I think the only thing that PRC talks about is if a 3, a 4, and a 5 are optional unless there's an offense of violence with the 3. So, to my knowledge, it's a optional 2 years.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Deeb, anything else?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, good luck, Mr. Reed.
You got 9 months on each count. So I'm gonna run at the same time. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
I'll talk to you soon.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about Robert now.
Oh, it's 8 months and you got 1 day credit, so 29 days. All right. Stick around for a second, okay? I'll talk to you
You
later.
right on here.
Dave, do you have any questions on anything?